This is my 47-year-old Yamaha YZ250 from 1978. And today I'm going to be racing it against a full field of modern four-strokes. Wish me luck. Get ready to experience the highs and the lows of vintage motocross. This one is a bit of a roller coaster. So why are we doing this? Well, I bought this bike at the start of the year and I was genuinely shocked how much I enjoyed riding it. Now, I know for a fact that I'm at least 5 seconds per lap slower on this thing than I am on my modern YZ125, so I know it's going to be a tough day in the office today. But I want to try and prove that this old dog still has some fight left in her, and like we often do on the channel, we're trying to prove that it's not about the bike, it's about the rider. I'm just not sure that I'm the rider for the job. So we've been running the number one in honour of Hurricane Bob Hanna, but number one has been taken today, so we're going to go full factory, and I'm going to run number 11 with some duct tape numbers. And number 11, inspired by our friend Rob Hollyoak, who rides these old things. Look how factory that looks. So another thing that we'll mention as well is I do have a backup bike in the van. My YZ125 is in the back there as a bit of backup. If something goes wrong with this today, if we have a mechanical, if I crash it, or if I just scare myself on it and I wimp out, I've got the YZ125 in the van as backup. But if I do go that route and get a 125 out the van, then I think I'm going to have to do a forfeit, aren't I?
Well, you think so?
And you can choose the forfeit that I have to do if I wimp out and put the 250 in the van and whack out the modern bike. So that is what's in store today. That's what's on the cards. Let's see if this thing can last a day. Let's see if I can last a day on it. Let's go racing. As I hit the track for practice and I lined up next to the modern machines, it finally dawned on me just how outmatched I was going to be today. But that only added to the smile beneath my helmet. I was enjoying being the underdog and I was actually having fun out on the track. Far away when the hurricane comes. But that wasn't much of a surprise if I'm being honest. We bought this bike by accident really. It came as a package with the 1970 Yamaha RT1 M360 that we featured on the channel earlier this year. I didn't actually know too much about the 250 back when we bought it, but I went away and did some homework and I soon realised that this bike, the 1978 YZ250E, is a very cool piece of motocross history in its own right, and it has its own very interesting story, which is something that I always look for in my bikes. We've made an entire video about that story and about the bike's history. But in short, the reason why we love it and the reason why I think it's so cool is because it was way ahead of its time back in 1978, and it was the machine that really kick-started the era of domination for the Hurricane Bob Hanna. So yes, the bike does have a cool story, but I wasn't expecting to actually enjoy riding it. Most of the time, these old bikes that we feature are terrifying old beasts that aren't for the faint of heart. But when I did hit the track to film some parts for that first video with the 250E, I was genuinely shocked. I loved my time riding the bike, and I think you can tell that from this footage. enjoyed my time so much on the 1978 machine that I decided to compare lap times with my modern 125. And granted, the times on the old girl were way off, mainly down to braking performance and lack of punch off the bottom. But nevertheless, I felt so confident on the bike and it didn't miss a beat all day long. And that gave me the courage to get entered into this race today. I was excited to hit the racetrack and get the day underway. Dad was out there in practice with the stills camera to get some nice pictures of the 78 in action. But my GoPro and my microphone were not rolling as I just wanted to focus, learn the track and figure out the bike. But the fact that I'm actually showing you these images right now might give you a clue as to what drama is about to unfold. Ride old bikes, they said. It'll be fun, they said.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we've just done practice. Felt all right out there. 2 laps of practice to learn the track. I did used to race here when I was a kid, but it's a little bit different from back in the day. Felt good on the bike. Bike was running okay until the very last jump, just before the finish line. I went to send it, landed, it bogged, and then died. And we had to do like a Rhino Hughes push up the hill to get it across the line. Now we just come back to the pits to try and work out what the hell has gone on here. So wish us luck. This video might be done early, or that 125 might be coming out the van.
We had a limited amount of time before the first gate drop of the day to get the bike stripped, diagnose the issue and get it fixed. Luckily, we do have a decent box of spares for this bike, and even luckier for us, we had the helping hands of this great bloke called Connor. I didn't know Connor before today, but he has a passion for these old Yamahas. He saw me out on track and saw us having problems, and he instantly offered us his help. I can't thank him enough. Frantically, we tried to figure out what was up with the old girl. Time was running out. But Connor and Dad had a few ideas. It was a tense moment for us, to say the least. Was the day done for the 250? Were we going to have to admit defeat, and was I going to have to face the consequences and take the forfeit? Or would the YZ250E live to fight another race? We'll find out next. Either way though, I was going to be very late to the line and I was going to have the last gate pick. But before the gates drop though, let me just tell you about this awesome discount offer from our sponsors, 24MX. Right now, if you use our discount code 15laser, you can get 15% off a whole range of products on the 24MX website. So that's 15% off products like the Pro Works foot pegs here, the toolkits like this, or even the tool boxes. Use our code. There's a special link in the description down below where you can find that. Use our code 15laser and you'll get 15% off. Now, the promotion is only valid in Europe and it's only running until the 23rd of this month. And it does exclude some products like the exhaust pipes and the race tents. But like I said, there's a bunch of cool products included in the promo, like the toolkits here that I genuinely love. And as you can imagine, it's been a godsend in the last couple of days. So be sure to check out the link below and use our discount 15laser. Now let's get back to the drama. What colour Yamaha will I be lined up on? Yellow or blue?
Okay.
Just tell the story quick.
Okay, so the plan has gone down the drain. The 47-year-old YZ250 didn't even make 2 laps of practice. So I've had to whip out the YZ125 and get ready for the race. Oh,
So yes, the 250 is dead for now. And I apologise for the slight clickbait on this video. It's no longer 47-year-old two-stroke versus modern machines. It's now become 15-year-old 125 versus modern 450s. And it's safe to say I wasn't quite ready for that gate drop, so let's see if I can salvage a good ride after that.
Oh my god, I was not ready for that. Right.
So I had a lot on my mind as this race got underway. Like, what was wrong with the 250 and what was my forfeit going to be?
Blimey. Come on, let's chase sex in this shizzle.
And that was my way of saying, let's try and make a bit of a comeback through the pack here in this moto. So I put to the back of my mind the worries I had going into the race. Just try to focus on the job at hand. And that was to pick off as many riders as I could throughout this 6-lap moto. Making some early passes here at the beginning of the race. Into 17th position now, around the outside into 16th.
Little 125 versus some 4 strokes, eh?
But I was very aware as this first lap got underway that I hadn't ridden this bike in a while and I hadn't ridden it on this track at all. So I had a lot to learn in this opening lap. I didn't even really have a chance to warm the bike up before that gate dropped. But here we are into 14th position now, halfway through lap number 1. I'm starting to get to grips with the track and the bike by this point. Let's see how far up the leaderboard I can climb. Again, I felt a bit outgunned on the little 125. But she did sound sweet out there, I'll have to admit that.
Going in deep.
So it was a little chaotic at the start of the race here at Woodford. You can see it was a bit dusty, it was a hot day as well. I just didn't want to make any mistakes. I wanted to let the other riders make the mistakes, like that right there. So that's another position gifted to me there. So up into 13th now, I think, with that fallen rider. Yep, 13th position as we're about to begin lap number 2. This is the finish line I'm crossing now. So lap 2 begins here. I don't race much anymore, so my racecraft definitely isn't what it used to be. I'm not as aggressive as I should have been at the start of this race. But around the outside of that Kawasaki to take over 12th, through the rollers I go to the far section of the track. I had a pass in place in mind. So I try to take over 11th position here from the 4-stroke in front of me. Up and over that little double jump. Couldn't quite stop for the inside line though, so I lost some ground there. Here we go, down the hill we go towards the back straight, which is where I fancy to pass. Sweeping left-hander and then on the gas. Let's see if I can do it. Singing on the little 125. Deep into the dust berm around the outside. Pass complete. That's 11th position then. Almost to the top 10 now. Looks to me like we're going to have a little two-stroke battle here as we reach the halfway point of the race. We've got a YZ250 ahead of me there. A little more modern than a YZ250 that I started the day on though. Can I find another passing spot in the lap somewhere else on the track? Oh, it's wheel-to-wheel, bar-to-bar action as we head up towards the finish line. An all-out two-stroke drag race here. But a 250, he's just got the legs on me up the hill. He protects the inside line as well to hang on to 10th position for the moment. So I lost some ground over the backside of the track, but I was closing back up on the rear wheel of the YZ250 as we headed down towards my favourite part of the track. That's the back straight down there, the flat out section. After we drop down the hill here, into the left-hander, and then on the gas. Make the pass up and around the outside again. We're not quite, but we're going to keep it tight, cut it down, hug the outside of the track and then cut across. Pass complete. Woo-hoo! So we're into 10th position now. I'm going to admit it, I was starting to run out of steam here. All my urgency had disappeared and I was starting to lose touch with the pack. As the laps clicked off, just wasn't gaining enough time on that pack. And in the last lap, I'd resigned myself to the position I was in, but there was a big crash ahead of me here with one down rider. That gifted me a position, hopefully he's okay, but that bumped me up into 9th place here on the final lap of action at Woodford after a terrible start on the little 125. I wasn't too disappointed with my performance here, but it wasn't quite the comeback I was hoping for.
Okay, so I'll admit it, I didn't quite sexton that. I might even get Cooper webbed if I'm not careful.
So one more corner and then up the hill towards the finish line. And again, I was thinking about what was wrong with the 250 and what my forfeit might be.
I think it's safe to say I wasn't quite ready for the start of that race. Want to finish your story at the start line? Yes, to go back what I was saying, the YZ250 didn't last 2 laps. Well, it lasted 2 laps and then died across the finish line. And we tried to get it repaired. We had help from an awesome bloke called Connor, knew his stuff with those old Yamahas. We had it to pieces in between practice and the first race, but we couldn't get a spark, we couldn't get it going. No compression, maybe an electrical fault, maybe the piston, who knows at this point. So I had to pull out the YZ125 and race down to the start line to get the for the gate drop, and I was actually in the middle of doing this chat when the gates did drop, so I wasn't exactly primed and ready and focused. There we go, that's vintage motocross. What are you gonna do?
And that is where our story is going to end today. Not exactly the fairy tale that I was hoping for, but I guess that's just vintage motocross racing. It's been a few days since the race now, and we've had a chance to strip the bike back properly and work out what happened. So it looks like the bike was running way too lean and we've had a heat seize. The main jet that was in there when we bought it was a 290. And after doing some investigation, it looks like we should have actually had a 390 main jet in there. So that explains that. Luckily, it didn't do too much damage to the barrel. We've had that honed, we've ordered a new piston and some new rings. We'll get that fitted in there and we'll get the 250 ready for its next adventure. And I'm pretty sure that the 1978 YZ250E will be looking to redeem itself next time it's in a video. Right, and let's get to the final point of today's video, the forfeit. I don't know what I've got to do yet. Dad, what's the forfeit going to be?
Well, I have got an idea, and my idea is, as you failed to race the 1978 YZ250E, what I want to see happen is you race a pro. I want the pro on the 1978 and you on a modern YZ250, and I want to see you get beaten on your own bike.
Do you want to see someone whip my ass with my own old school bike?
Yes.
I think we can make that happen.